Showing off some of the new heroes, or all four of the new Wu Lin heroes.
Right.
I just want to let everyone know watching over in Twitch land, we will be taking questions from the chat, so if you have any questions for Mr. Eric Pope about anything Marching Fire, go ahead and toss them in there and we'll see if we can get to them at the end.
Yes, so feel free.
We just saw that trailer.
There's a lot.
There was a lot going on there. And you mentioned the Shaolin's got some sass. The new show's got some sass to it too. That execution was pretty cool.
Sits on your back and then just
yeah, that's what hook swords are good for, right?
Yeah, exactly. They all have a lot of sass. I think that so kind of more narratively for those characters, they kind of get screwed over in their land. That's why they're coming west into the world of For Honor, is they had to leave. So I think they all have a little chip on their shoulder.
Okay.
So Breach. Okay.
Yes.
We have a little footage we can show while we talk, just to give you more of a taste of it, because that was a very exciting, action-packed trailer. But we already mentioned it's a castle siege. So you have one side is attacker, one side is defender. And depending on which side you're on, the rules are very different.
Okay.
So if you are on the attack side, you have a certain set of respawns.
Okay.
So once your respawns are exhausted, you lose.
Okay, so that's how the defending team can win. That's one of the ways they can win.
So as the attacker, you have a battering ram. You want to advance it the 3 phases of a breach match. You want to advance it through the first gate, the outer gate, and then keep advancing it and bash the inner gates. And then you get to a third phase where, as you saw in the trailer, you get to fight this big, badass commander of the castle.
Okay.
So that is the attack side, but it's not so straightforward. You don't just go straight up the middle. As you can see in the footage here, this is our night map. There are 3 maps that we're shipping with Breach mode that are coming in Marching Fire. There's one for each faction, so this is the night one. As a player, you have options. You can go up onto the walls. We have our siege towers in this one that you can climb up. We have kind of tunnel that's been dug under the wall, and you can breach the gates that way.
Yeah, that's what I noticed there when I was playing it. It's not this just linear. I'm just gonna go down this main lane.
There is a lot going on, and the best way I think is to kind of split up your team. Maybe have a couple, 1 or 2 focus on that main lane, protecting your ram, while the other 2 go up on the side lane, as we call it. Go up on the battlements of the walls, because we have capture zones.
Okay.
So capture zones people know from our Dominion mode. Unlike Dominion, the capture zones are permanent. You can capture it, and once you do, they stay on your side. You can have a back and forth on there, which is fun, but it can make a big difference because the capture zones have archers.
Okay.
So archers are quite effective in this mode, shooting down on you and on the ram.
So it's important to defend those positions, because if you lose them, you're not getting them back.
Exactly. So yeah, for the attackers, you can kind of inch your way up through the battlements by taking these capture zones where the archers are, and that way you protect your ram below, who bashes through, which I timed that very well. Because now we're on to the second phase, so you get into the inner keep of the castle. In this particular map, it is a long alleyway with, it's almost like a little bit of a kill zone between two parts of the wall. So again, it has to proceed to the next gate, and you have your soldiers, which in Breach, your soldiers are called pikemen, and it's not just a name, they are dramatically stronger. They do more damage and take more damage than your average soldiers in For Honor.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention, you could definitely go down from a pikeman.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty good strategy to bring your opponent into a battle where you have pikemen to help. If they can surround a guy, they can take him out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and they're not a one-hit kill like a lot of the Dominion minions are.
Yeah, so there are just a lot of ingredients in Breach. We have a lot of cool new things that are bringing, apart from just the one-on-one gameplay or the team-based battling. We've got the archers, we've got the ram, we've got cauldrons. You can drop fiery hot death onto your opponent or onto the opponent's ram, which actually this character is going here to do right now.
Your timing is just impeccable today.
It's like I timed it, but I assure you I did not.
Yeah. So this is a good way to do a massive amount of damage to the ram all at once, right?
There it is. See, you can see our new UI as well. It gives you a glimpse of everyone that's alive at a given time. You can see that 12 up there that's right now. That is the 12 respawns the attackers have left. Okay, and the attackers, when they breach that second gate, it's a well-named mode. They breach the second gate. Now they get to the commander phase. So this is like the lord of the castle. The ram is now irrelevant. You are in.
Okay.
And this phase is my favorite because I've seen so many matches really turn. Like, you could be a dominant attacker. You could come in here with a lot of respawns left, but a well-organized defense squad who, squads up with their commander, takes out the attackers in waves, and really actually chip them down. The commander is super strong. Like, he's got a ton
you can
of
see that
health.
massive health pool.
Massive health pool, and he throws these massive unblockable attacks.
It's almost like having like a fifth player,
A little bit, yeah. Like, he stays in his little king zone or whatever you want to call it. But if you go in not knowing how to take him on, he can kill you very quickly. So it's three very different phases, which take different strategies to complete each one, and it's just so much fun. It's my favorite thing.
So yeah, the attackers win by breaching two gates and taking down the defender's commander. Defenders can win by either taking out all the respawns of the attacking team, or in phase 1 or 2, destroying the ram.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And every time you get to a new phase as an attacker, you get a little bit more respawns, right?
Yeah. So if you're running a little low, each time you breach a gate, you get a new set of respawns.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though they're bots, they know they're going to die. So they'll come at you hard. Or you could be bleeding to death. Or you could have extra, like, every time you're hit, you get knocked on your ass. That sort of thing. So,
but my very first arcade mode game, I was bleeding to death. I had a super aggressive conqueror on me, just bashing me with the shield. And but if I killed the minions around, I would heal up a little bit. So it was this sort of bob and weave, get in, try and get some hits, kill some minions, go back and forth.
Someone, when we showed it at Gamescom last week, and someone sort of described it almost as like a puzzle. Like, depending on the modifiers, you can equip, whether you equip certain feats and stuff like that to work well against them. You can figure out, okay, I have to fight 1v3. I got to fight 3. Our friend Havoc, who's a content creator, he was stuck for the longest time doing 1v3, and it was 3 Valks or 3 Peacekeepers. I can't remember which. Whichever it was just kicking his ass over and over and over. And then he finally realized, like, oh, okay, there's actually traps here I should be using to try to, because those guys would regenerate their health. That was the modifier for that. So you have 3 people regenerating their health, and it's got the thing you were telling me that, you die, you're like, oh, I want to get back in there and try again.
That's the thing is that, my time with arcade mode was just so addicting because you'll get killed, but you're almost instantly back in, and you're like, all right, I know what I messed up on. let me see if I can do it again. And
Yep.
then that happens another 30 times in my case, so I'm also not very good. And then I eventually beat it, and it's the most satisfying feeling.
Yes, it's very satisfying. And actually, like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to find new ways to bring narrative in. There are